Hey guys, welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to my channel. Now, how do we eliminate hard light? How do we get rid of that harsh, nasty looking light? How do we get that glow? How do we get that beautiful, soft light? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use a diffuser and how I use it to get that beautiful, soft light in my food photography. Let's get into it. There's a lot of different types of diffusers on the market. You can go on Amazon and you can see a whole list of them. All your camera stores have a lot of them. Mine is a 43-inch, what they call a 5-in-1. It has an inner diffuser panel, which I use. Then it has a covering that goes over the top. One side silver, one side white, one side gold. So you use it as a reflector. I strip it down and I simply use the diffuser panel inside. Now, the diffuser panels are great because they fold up nicely. They're easy to store, they're easy to travel with. And diffusers come in all different sizes. Now, here's just a little example of some reflectors. And you can see these are tiny, but you can also get a diffuser this size. This one here is made by Cameron. It's quite small, but the size, we're only dealing with food photography. We're not trying to light a car. So our lights are smaller, our diffusion systems are smaller because we're lighting a little tiny set. We're not lighting a whole stage. But I still have at least a 43-inch or better for a diffuser panel to get that big, soft, beautiful glowing light into my food photos. All right, if you're new to the channel, you know within the studio I don't have any natural light of any value that I can use to do photography, so I always have to use artificial light. Now, the principles that I'm showing you, though, will work for natural light or it'll work for artificial light. In my case, I'm going to be using an LED panel for my light source. But as I say, the principles are identical on how I use my diffuser. Now, if you've got a window, your lighting is going to vary depending on the weather outside. If it's overcast outside, you're going to have that nice soft light coming in through your window. But if it's like bright sunshine blasting through your window, you got a serious problem with that hard lighting. Now, you can use your diffuser in front of the window just the same as me putting it in front of an LED panel, which is what I'll be doing. The results will basically be the same. Now, if you don't want to invest into a diffuser panel or any kind of diffuser, have a look at fabric. Any kind of translucent type material, you can go to a fabric store and pick up a piece of material. If you have a white sheet, you can shoot through it. Now, be aware when you're shooting through a diffuser, you do lose a bit of your light power, so you're going to have to increase your exposure to compensate that out. So be aware of that. Thicker material, you're going to have to increase the exposure to compensate it out. But any material like that that's semi-translucent will work beautiful. So whether you got a window or you got an LED lighting, the principles that I'm going to show you with the diffuser are the same. Now, for our little setup here, I'm just going to set up some cookies that I basically had in the kitchen, and I thought this would be a great little subject just to show you the difference between kind of a hard lighting and medium lighting and soft lighting. So I've got that little setup of my cookies. Our first lighting, I'm going to show you the hard lighting. So I've got an LED panel here. It's made by Neewer. I'll put a link to it down below where I did an unboxing review of it, and you can check it out in more detail. But that's the light I'm using for my light source. The hard light it's produced, there's no scrim or anything in front, it's just that light blasting onto the subject, and you can see how you get a very contrasty light. The highlights tend to blow out and the shadows tend to go very dark. So you get a very contrasty image. Now, you might like that and you might not want a diffuser. That's okay. But if you want a softer, more subtle type lighting, then we need to add a filter to the light, which is a diffuser panel. I will put a link to a video I did below on the distance of the light to the diffuser to the subject, and all those different variations and the effect it has. So I'll put a link to that video down below. It gets into all those little nuances of that. Here I'm just going to kind of generalize over it and just look at the three things of the hard light and moving the diffuser panel in closer to the subject or in between. So you'll be able to see that. But first off, look at the hard light. You can see that hard contrasting and the results of that. Now, if I move my diffuser panel back to about halfway, it will also kind of change my exposure subtly, but it will have an effect on the lighting in shadows, and it'll have an effect on contrast. The only thing I can really suggest with this is you need to play with it. You need to train your eye to try and see the light and look for those little details. Look at the highlight, look at the shadows. So when I'm in between, you can see this picture is not quite as contrasty as that hard light one was. But it still might be too hard for you, and you might want that big, beautiful, soft lighting. Well, in that case, let's move the diffuser panel right up to the side of my table so I'm in very close to the subject. Now, look at how that light is. See how I get a more even light across the board? It even wraps around the cookies and starts filling in the shadows more. Now, I realize what you're seeing is very subtle changes, but they are changes within it that you need to be aware of to get that look that you want. So the distance your panel is from your subject to the light has a great difference to it. So you can see the very first one, hard light, very contrasty. The soft light where the diffuser panel is right in close, less contrast, but a lot more even lighting and wraparound lighting. So it all depends on you as the artist to what you're trying to achieve. As I say, the best piece of advice I can give you beyond what I'm showing you is to experiment. Look through the camera lens, see what you're seeing, take a picture, compare it to different setups. And you start learning how it acts in your space, because every space is different that you do photography in and how light bounces around and everything else. So I can't give you the exact numbers that will work here that'll work for you in yours. But this is the principles and the guidelines that will help you get to where you want to go. All I can say is practice, practice, practice. The more you do it, the more you can train your eye to visually see this lighting, to achieve the goals you want, and you have various different setups by all the practicing that you're doing. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos. If you enjoyed a video like this, please give it a thumbs up. So, until the next time.